What is going on, guys? It is your boy Chili, and today I'm going to be doing a video that's related back to football and kind of how the weekend went. And first things first, I know this is a Destiny vid, but since I do a lot of my videos with Destiny content, I was just going to kind of overlay it with commentary relating to the NFL. It's a lot easier than just doing like a blog with my camera set up. And anyways, that's just to describe that, and let's just really get into what happened this weekend. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but as an avid Cowboys fan, yesterday was absolutely heartbreaking for a lot of reasons. You know, to have the season that we had and to have the game come down to the way that it did was just really insane. And unfortunately, it didn't go our way. And right away, I'd like to say, you know, hats off to the Packers and my friend Jug. Congrats, that's your team, and they played their asses off. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, and you know, watching things like First Take and other sports pundits, it really came abundantly clear that, and this has been clear for a long time, but I've been a lifelong Cowboys fan. I have a picture of Emmitt Smith up on my wall. The first book I ever purchased was a Cowboys history book at a book fair at my elementary school, and I grew up really enjoying the Denver Broncos with John Elway and the Cowboys of the 90s with Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman and a bunch of other players. But, you know, the Cowboys have really always been my team. And, you know, since I was born in 92. That was really when they started their dynasty. I was really too young to remember the dynasty of the 90s. And over the past 20 years, now 21 years, they've really struggled to find any playoff success. And, you know, liking the Cowboys is a curse and a blessing, because you have access to arguably the biggest sports franchise in sports history. It's right up there. It's worth the most. It has the most amount of media attention garnished on it, and that comes with the territory of why so many people like to see the Cowboys fail. You know, and I get it that there's bandwagon fans, there's idiot fans. If you ever go read like NFL's comments on their Facebook, you know, half of it is filled with cucks who just love to talk shit about every other team but their own. I really only think that like one team out there that probably doesn't hate on a lot of people is Cleveland, for reasons I shall not explain. You probably already know why. But this was a really tough loss, not only because the game was amazing and because they came back and because it was close to begin with, but because this team has so much promise. And going from the number one seed and being 13-3, could have been 14-2, but really had nothing to play for in Week 17, whereas the Eagles did. I wouldn't necessarily call it a failure of a season. It's certainly a disappointment given the talent that we have on the team and given that we played a depleted Packers team overall. But mainly because it seemed like we had really found our rhythm late in the game, which was key. You know, that's sometimes often where, you know, the team shines, or teams shine that win. And this is, you know, no different than the Cowboys and Steelers in the regular season, right, where one team scores in less than a minute left. The Cowboys drove down the field and scored. I mean, it could have easily gone that way. Play calls at the very end, you know, you have to maybe question that, maybe spiking the ball or taking the timeout, giving Aaron Rodgers too much time, knowing who he is and how our secondary had been shredded. But props to Aaron Rodgers for holding onto the ball, getting sacked by Heath. You know, holding on to that, not fumbling it, because if it's fumbled, even if they pick it back up, it's still going to overtime. We pick it back up. We kick a field goal and we win. Penalties on both sides. And interesting enough, this is the one thing I'll clarify. There was definitely some bad play calling that benefited Dallas and Green Bay. But fun fact, Dallas had 6 penalties for 50 yards. Green Bay 3 for 22. That phantom hold on the last play before Aaron Rodgers threw it to the tight end to catch it to set up the field goal, holding on to Irvin's neck, going for a fucking piggyback ride. So for all the people out there who want to talk shit about Dallas, it's to point out, you know, look, there are bad calls. I know that Skandrix has that guy's pads out of his jersey, but look at the 2 trips on Witten. I mean, you could go back and forth and argue if those penalties wouldn't have happened, would the game score have been higher, would it have been different? I don't know. All I know is on the last play and the most important play of the game, arguably, you had an offensive lineman that's hanging off the back of Irving, and regardless of all that, it's, you know, Byron Jones not even thinking that he could catch that ball. He could have dove, he could have put some sort of defensive pressure on that to stop that. But all of that regardless, I think as a Dallas fan, if you want to reflect on this season, going from 4-12 to 13-3 is a huge accomplishment. And for any other team in the NFL besides the Dallas Cowboys, that would be reason enough to be happy right there. Having such a big turnaround in just one season, and having such a bad season without Tony Romo and Dez Bryant last year was a blessing in disguise for us, for the simple fact that we had already been establishing this really dominant offensive line, and we have arguably the best running back to come out of any recent draft. You know, we had DeMarco Murray in 2014, we had that, and then, he took the money deal. And that's the thing is, right now, the Cowboys offensively, and if they have some key defensive people come back, Randy Gregory, Lawrence, Smith, Scandrick, Claiborne, these guys need to play better. That was another big issue in the game, is just giving up the pressure that we were putting on Rodgers, especially at the very end, and getting this three-man rush going and just giving him time to settle in. And he's the type of quarterback that could find the receiver and he can throw them open with how good he is at throwing the football. Play calling, I already talked about that. You could argue that all day, but as a Cowboys fan, you have to be really excited about this team simply for the amount of potential they have at each position. The one really sad thing is that odds are you're not going to see Tony Romo play another snap as a Cowboy unless it's a preseason game, but not in the regular season. I think this game really solidified that Dak is the guy to run the team now, showing the poise that he did and able to come back on a Green Bay team that could have easily put us away a lot earlier. Having Zeke with this offensive line, having Dez Bryant, and whether or not he'll stay with us over the next couple years is really to be determined. Guys like Jason Witten, if there's one player that I'd really like to win a ring, not just because I'm a Cowboys fan, but just because I'm a fan of him as an individual and how he carries himself, is Jason Witten. And, he's in his 15th year. Maybe next year he wins it, and that would be awesome just for him alone. But in any sport, in the best comparison I can make is like an MMA. You have a very small window to be great. And there are very few teams that are able to consistently be great over a select amount of years. I would say Green Bay is in that category of how many years have they gone into the postseason and lost in heartbreaking fashion. That's happened to us the last 2 years. It happened to us in 2007 because we took the week off and lost to the wild card Giants. We lost to Minnesota a couple years after that, and that was really just an upsetting game because, at least when you lose like that, 34-3, you were never really in the game. But this one was heartbreaking because, we really were a really good team. And again, it's just one of those, it's a game of inches at this point. I think looking forward to the future, we have a lot of great players, potential Hall of Fame players, barring injury, upsides their playing ability. And, it is what it is. You're going to have a lot of people that hate. You're going to have a lot of people that love the Cowboys, all bullshit fans aside. I always try to be respectful of other people's teams as long as they're respectful to mine. And, that was really it. I think making this video, there's no real point to it except to just get off the fact that was one hell of a game. Easily the most exciting divisional round. The extra scrutiny that's brought on to the Cowboys, and granted they put that pressure on themselves with the people that support them, like Skip Bayless, aka Mr. Toolbag, Stephen A. You're going to have all these sports pundits that like to put pressure on, or unnecessary pressure necessarily, but I think, for the first time in a long time, you can really look at the two rookies that we have on this team and say, there's some special guys and they deserve some respect. Both of them played, all three of them, Dez Bryant, Zeke, and Dak played their hearts out yesterday. And, they're losing, off of two crazy field goals, made by Mason Crosby. All applause to him, killing it that game. This was a really heartbreaking game, but like when you go back and go read a Cowboys history book or any sports team history book, this is one of those that it can make or break a team over the next few years. Maybe this can motivate them to really rise to the next level of greatness, or maybe it'll break them and this will be the haunting, the next year's champions that never come to be. But this video is coming to an end. I just wanted to kind of rant about it a bit. It's been a long, crazy season, but happy to be a Cowboys fan and really excited with this team. And if you want to hate on it, that's cool too. So I hope you guys are enjoying a wonderful MLK Day. Stay inside if it's cold where you're at. It's cold here. So I will be uploading more normal Destiny content stuff and getting back to my normal video stuff. So with that being said, hope you guys have a wonderful day and stay focused, stay humble, stay driven, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.